Hey, YouTube family, how you doing? This is Rhonda with Rhonda Loves Life. Thanks for joining me. All right, guys, this is really the most disturbing video I've ever recorded. As I told you, I wanted to report on Marsha Edwards and her two beautiful young adult children, Christopher and Erin. Christopher, 24, and Erin, 20. Marsha Edwards, 58. She murdered both her grown children and then put the gun on herself. When this happened Wednesday, August 21, 2019, is when the bodies were discovered. So when I heard the story, it was shocking, because why would a 58-year-old black female murder her two young children? Why? Why would she do it? The media never gave any answers, but I've got an answer for you. I think after I share with you what I found in the police report, what I found in the medical examiner's report, the autopsy photos, the police photos, it is stunning, and the crime is shocking, because her son, Christopher, she put 6 bullets in her son. 1 in his head, I think 2 in his back, 1 in his arm, and 1 in his chest. 6 bullets. Erin, she put 3 bullets in Erin. 1 in the head, 1 in the chest, and 1 in the back. And Marsha shot herself right here. Why would she do that? She was 58 years old. She had a successful, she was married to a successful orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Christopher Edwards Sr., and they had divorced. They've been divorced for several years. We're going to get into detail, because I think we have some glimpse of why this happened. I wanted to do this video because I wanted to understand more why. And I think this will build some discussion, especially in the Black community, about mental health. So let's get into it. All right. On Wednesday, August 21, 2019, Dr. Christopher Edwards Sr., and Marsha's aunt, they both contact the Cobb County Police Department asking for a welfare check, because Christopher Jr., who was he was the digital manager for the Atlanta mayor's office. He worked under the mayor, Keisha Bottoms, the former mayor of Atlanta. He did not show up for work. He didn't show up. And then Erin was due to go back to Boston, because that's where she went to school. I think she was a junior. She never got on the plane. She never arrived to the airport, boarded the plane, because she usually calls her aunt, the same one that called Marsha's aunt, which would be Erin's grandaunt. So the Cobb County Police Department did do a welfare check. They knocked on the door, rung the bell, no answer, but they could hear phone ringing in the apartment, in the townhouse. So they had to call the fire department. They went up there on the balcony. I think in the police report, yeah, they had to get in. They needed help to get into the house, into the townhouse. What they discovered was absolutely shocking. When you look at the crime scene photos, and they do inventory of everything in the crime scene photos, they take inventory of everything they see. The dash cams, I could not get a hold of the body cams or the dash cams, because in Atlanta, I guess in the state, they actually destroy it after like a certain number of months. They destroy it because they run out of space, I guess. I don't know. That's what I was told. But I did get the police report, the crime scene photos, which are shocking, the medical examiner's report, the autopsy report. And reading all of that and seeing, just looking at the crime scene, it makes it crystal clear how violent this crime was. It was stunningly violent. When the cops got in there, they went downstairs, and that's where Christopher's body was. He was in bed. She shot him 5 times. Let me see. Yeah, 5 times. She shot him in the head, as I said, in his back and his chest. Why would a mother do that? Erin was upstairs. Erin and Marsha was upstairs in the same bed together. Erin was tucked under the blanket. She looked like she was asleep, but it was clear she was dead. Marsha was hanging off the bed a little, like her leg like I believe her right leg was hanging off the bed. She had shot herself here, so I think when she shot herself, she just slid down. Her eyes were wide open, her mouth was open. Grotesque, horrific, and I keep asking, why? Why would she do it? Actually, in 2019, just a couple of months before this happened, she was voted as one of Atlanta's 100 most power and influential women. She had a successful medical supply store where she sold medical supplies. So why? None of the media, when they covered this story, they didn't explain why. But as I keep going, it will become crystal clear what was going on. And I want to hear your comments because I'll add a poll too. All right. So the investigators, what did the investigators find? What did they learn? And in the police report, there were several people that the investigators interrogated or interviewed. So it was Dr. Christopher Edwards Sr. It was Marsha's sister. It was Erin's mentor. So Marsha's sister said a couple of things that piqued my interest. First, she said that Marsha had trouble dealing with the divorce. She also said that Marsha was very private with the kids, very private with the kids. And she pointed out that Marsha did not pass she went to medical school, but she could not pass the state exams. She never could pass. So that's how she ended up selling medical supplies. So that was interesting. Mr. Christopher Sr., he had some interesting things to say. He said, first of all, he was engaged to be married again. He also pointed out that Marsha may have had trouble dealing with the fact that the kids were moving on. The son was planning on moving out, and Erin, she was going back to school. So those two things really shed some light on Marsha's state of mind. Now, what sealed it for me and my understanding is Erin's mentor. Erin had a mentor at school, and her mentor told the police that Erin had concerns about her mother's mental health. And then also she said that her mom had trouble dealing with the divorce, that her and her father were no longer together again. So those are some really powerful statements that makes clear, at least a little bit, I think seriously, what was going on with Marsha. Now, Marsha, she had no drugs in her system. Nothing. She had no drugs in her system. So, and no alcohol. So she did all this with clear mind. I mean, relatively clear mind. Now, my question is, and what do you guys think? Do you think that she did it cold blood? Number one, do you think she did it cold bloodedly? She's just a cold blood killer. She wanted to punish her husband because he was moving on, and she wanted to make him hurt like never before. Or number two, could it be that she just had untreated mental illness that this just progressed over time until she just blew? Or three, was it maybe a brain tumor? Did she have a tumor in her brain that altered her reality and her judgment and all that? Well, the autopsy did not show any brain tumors, existence of any brain tumors. So I don't know how reliable that would be. But what I find most shocking is that she had no drugs in her system. Like, she did this with clear mind. So a relatively, I didn't say healthy mind. I just said with no substance or no alcohol, no large amounts of alcohol that would, alter her judgment. Nothing. She didn't. So those three, and I'm going to leave that in the poll for you. Let me know what you think. I want to point out this last section right quick, and then you guys let me know. Leave your comments in the chat. But here, this is the last section. I got two more. Like, where is Chris Sr. today? So it looks like he is remarried. So is it the same one that he was engaged to when the murder happened? I don't know. I did pull her name. I know who he's married to, but I don't want to give her name because This is so tragic. I don't give the sister's name. I don't want to give the mentor's name. And I don't want to give his new wife's name, because this is such a tragic story that the bigger picture, I honestly believe, is mental health, in my opinion. So he is still an orthopedic surgeon. He remarried. He created an annual 5K walk-run dedicated to his children in 2020. And it's called EVC. I don't know if that's pronounced, but it's EVECE. And it's for Erin Victoria Edwards and then Christopher Edwards. And it's a walk of life. So if you look at the purpose, there are two reasons why they created this annual 5K. One is to remember, celebrate, and share the lives of Chris and Erin. And then also to give empowerment to express our own emotional survival and support in a mental and physical way. Now, that's beautiful. And my heart goes out to all him, his family, you know, his extended family, Marsha's family. This is tragic, but it's a bigger picture here that I think we need to kind of explore. Now, Dr. Edwards, this is his quote, and I think this is pretty much the cherry on the top of this case. And I think he pretty much explained what was really going on with Marsha. He says here, and quote, "Whether you're Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, and Independent, whatever, one thing we can all agree on is that people with known mental health disorders should not have access to guns." So he's saying here, crystal clear, explicitly, he didn't name her, but Marsha clearly had a mental health disorder. Whatever it was, I don't know. But from his statement, it looks like that's what it was. And when I consider what I've read in the police report and the interviews from her own sister, Erin's mentor, and her ex-husband, that I think that if she had no drugs in her system. So if she had an existing mental disorder that was untreated, and then you put stressors on top of that, a divorce, you know, I wanted to look at the divorce records, but I'm like, you know, no, I didn't want to get into that. I mean, you know, we know that divorce is painful, but no, people get divorced all the time and never want to hurt their own children. So something was going on. So she could have had a untreated mental illness disorder and added on divorce, and then her children going away. Listen, my children are, you know, I'm like an empty nester. Both my kids are in their 20s, and it is hard. But I never in my mind would ever think that, but I don't have a mental disorder. And in our community, in the Black community, and you guys know what I'm talking about, we have relatives who are crazy as a Betsy bug. And we know they are crazy as hell, but we just say, well, what can we do? Yeah, well, what can we do? You know what? I think that when you got, those were 2 adult children. I don't think for an instant that their extended family would have known that Marsha would have gone to this extent. I don't believe so. It's hard to predict. Tragedy can be so random. But we do know that when you're dealing with mental illness in our community, we have to learn to take care of ourselves and not let it get out of control. Because imagine if she was going years and years with that untreated mental illness, and it got worse and worse over the years. And then she had a divorce that may have been something that she did not want. And then her children are speaking about, and apparently, according to Chris Sr. in the police report, Christopher Sr. or Dr. Sr., he, you know, apparently the son was moving out, and the daughter was going back to school, and he was getting engaged. He was engaged to be married. So this, and who knows? So to conclude this, I just add the conclusion. This case is so tragic, but if we can learn something from it, maybe it's the mental illness that we need to pay more attention to in our community. I think overall, but I do know in the Black community, it's really hard to talk about mental health. It is. And we see family members spiral, but we don't know what to do. Maybe the first thing to do is to talk to someone. If we ourselves are feeling like, okay, something is not right. When you think of like Kanye, they put him all on TV and he is clearly ill. Clearly ill. And when he's not on his medication, you can tell it. So I'm not saying that in any way that's what Marsha had. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. But I do understand how important mental health is. And it could be very dangerous if it's untreated. And then she was able to get a gun too. So that was just, and to take out her 2 children, she had to have been completely and totally out of her mind. Do I think that she was a cold-blooded killer and wanted to hurt her husband? I don't think so. I think it's mental illness. I really do. But I don't know. I'm not in her heart. Only her and God knows now. But I do believe it's severe mental illness if it goes untreated. And then she had a weapon. And she had life stressors. And with that mental illness untreated, it can distort your what you're seeing and how you're feeling. You know, and what still sticks out in my mind, a couple of things. How she emptied that gun. I mean, that young man had 5 bullets in him and a daughter had 3. How she could coldly do that and then put the gun on herself. That is cold. But it shows you, and she had no drugs in her system, no known brain tumors the autopsy didn't find. So either she's a cold fish or she was really, really going through it. And I think Dr. Edwards' quote, I think this, like he said, people with known mental health disorders shouldn't have access to a gun. And I think he's right. This is just another one of those cases. I say we did say a silent prayer for everyone involved. I do believe that a silent prayer. This is horrific. And my prayer is with Marsha's family. My prayer is with Dr. Edwards and his family. Because he has to live the rest of his days knowing, you know, that is something. But check out the annual 5K run every year. It's called, I don't know how to pronounce it, so it's EVECE. And it is dedicated to Erin and Chris. May God be with them. I posted a poll on the community channel chat. I want to know what you think. Leave your comments in the chat. Obviously, I want to read your comments. But also, I want you to take the poll and let me know from what you've heard about the case. Do you think that Marsha was just a cold-blooded, angry woman who murdered her children because she wanted to hurt her husband? Or 2, do you think it was just untreated mental illness? Or 3, which is probably not likely, but could it have been a brain tumor that maybe the autopsy did not uncover? I don't know. So take the poll, leave your comments in the chat. I want to thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you want to hear, you know, see more videos like this, because I love true crime. But for me, I love to dig into the cases. So this is something, I'm just more of an information person anyways. It's kind of how my brain works. But I enjoy stories like this because I want to know, is there something that we can learn from it? That's the reason why I always like reporting on celebrities, because they are a crazy bunch and we can learn from them. I keep telling you guys that. We can look at them and say, hey, no, I don't think so. So these cases, I'm going to do another, my next case will be on, what's her name? Chelsea Chrisley and the suicide case. And then also I want to do one on the young man that actually in New York that killed this guy was like a mentor, gave him a job. He was doing scooters in Africa, like South Africa. So that's another story I'm going to do. And some others. So stay tuned. I hate having to start a different channel. So I'm hoping I can just kind of report here, but I don't think I will. But we'll see what happens. You know, it'll all work out. Thank God I do have a day job. I don't rely on YouTube for income. I just like to post really interesting videos, and I like to hear from you guys. So listen, I want to thank you for watching. Leave your comments in the chat. I love you guys, and let's say a prayer for that poor family. Let's say a prayer for all involved. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Ciao. Mwah.